Welcome back to my YouTube channel. We dive into another incredible and mind-blowing story from the world of rare coins, where ordinary pocket change can sometimes hide extraordinary treasures, and today's focus is on one of the most unbelievable discoveries ever talked about in numismatic circles. The mysterious 1983 1-cent coin that some collectors speculate could be worth an astonishing $41 million because of its extremely rare errors, unexpected minting anomalies, and the almost mythical circumstances that supposedly surround a few surviving examples. And as we explore this fascinating tale, we invite you to sit back, listen carefully, and imagine just how wild it would be to find something like this in your own change jar. Because even though most 1983 pennies are completely ordinary, there are rare varieties and theoretical misstrikes that collectors love to speculate about. So today we are diving deep into every possibility, every error type, every minting mistake that enthusiasts claim could transform a simple copper-colored cent into a multi-million-dollar treasure, starting with the background of the 1983 penny, which marks a significant era in United States minting history since it came just 1 year after the major composition transition from mostly copper to copper-plated zinc, and during this period the mints were adjusting to new metal blanks and striking pressures, a phase that created unusual opportunities for unexpected errors. And this is where the legend of the ultra-valuable 1983 penny begins, because some collectors believe that extremely rare experimental pieces, transitional planchet mistakes, misaligned die variations, double designs, and off-metal strikes could exist, even if only a few were ever accidentally released to the public. And the first major element of the story is the possibility of a 1983 copper transitional error, a coin that would have been struck on a leftover copper planchet from the pre-1982 era, rather than the new zinc core format, a mistake that would create a subtle but measurable difference in weight, tone, and ring when dropped. And because transitional errors are among the most desired finds in the hobby, this alone could catapult the value into astronomical territory if authenticated, especially since only a tiny handful of such errors would have survived quality control. And the next possibility fueling the story is the existence of extremely sharp double die varieties where a die is misaligned or hubbed twice at slightly different angles, producing dramatic separation in the lettering, date, and sometimes even Lincoln's profile. And while the most famous double die penny circulated decades earlier, collectors sometimes imagine hypothetical 1983 double dies so extreme and dramatic that even a single example could demand a staggering price, especially if the doubling were bold enough to be visible without magnification, as the more dramatic the doubling, the more collectors salivate for it. And then we get into the notion of off-metal strikes, one of the most exciting error types because it involves coins being struck on the wrong planchet entirely, either from another denomination or even a foreign coin blank that was accidentally inside the press. And the idea of a 1983 penny struck on a brass, aluminum, nickel, or even steel planchet is enough to drive collectors into a frenzy, since the rarity of such anomalies, if real, would create an enormous bidding war among elite numismatists, and some people even speculate that a mint test strike or pattern coin created for internal experimentation might exist in extremely limited numbers, perhaps taken home unintentionally by an employee or lost in the production chain, only to resurface decades later in someone's coin roll or inherited jar. And when you combine transitional errors, double dies, off-metal strikes, and experimental test pieces, you create the perfect cocktail of mystery and speculation, which is exactly what fuels the belief that a hypothetical 1983 penny with the right combination of errors could reach a shocking $41 million in value if offered at a major auction where wealthy private collectors compete not just for rarity but for bragging rights. And building on that excitement is the possibility of a full brokerage strike in which the coin receives an imprint of another coin due to a striking malfunction, creating a mirror image effect that is extremely rare and visually dramatic. And if such a brokerage were paired with a transitional metal error or a double design, the compounded effect could increase its theoretical value exponentially. And then there are off-center strikes where the coin design is shifted significantly due to misalignment, leaving a portion of the blank exposed and the portrait drastically shifted. And while most off-center pennies are inexpensive, an off-center 1983 penny struck on the wrong metal or paired with a dramatic double die could create an error so incredible that no collector could resist, especially those who pay huge premiums for extreme anomalies. And we also cannot ignore the legend surrounding mintset-only strikes or proof-like factory errors that were never meant to leave the facility but somehow did, items that would naturally spark unbelievable price speculation because their very existence defies minting protocols, making them numismatic holy grails. And if such a coin from 1983 surfaced with mirrored surfaces, exceptional strike quality, and an impossible error combination, it could indeed inspire valuations far beyond what most people would ever imagine for a penny. And the more unusual the error, the more intense the demand becomes among collectors who seek one-of-a-kind pieces, because rarity drives obsession, and obsession drives value. And when the coin community believes a particular year hides secret treasures, the legend grows, sometimes creating a snowball of speculation, rumors, and excitement, and this is exactly what has happened with the hypothetical multimillion-dollar 1983 cent, turning it into a symbol of what might be hiding in the pockets and drawers of everyday people. And beyond technical errors, there is also the narrative appeal, the thrill of discovering something overlooked for decades, a tiny fragment of minting history that survived against all odds. And collectors love stories as much as they love coins, so when a coin carries a narrative of rarity, accidental survival, and extreme desirability, its perceived value skyrockets, and this drives the belief that one perfectly unique 1983-era penny could reach the fabled price of $41 million, not because all 1983 pennies are valuable but because the magic of numismatics lies in the unexpected anomalies that slip past the machines, the inspectors, and time itself, waiting to be found by someone who never imagined a single cent could hold the potential to change their life. And as we explore these possibilities, we recognize that even though most people will never find such a treasure, the dream is what makes coin collecting so exciting, because every coin has a story, every minting year has mysteries, and every pocketful of change has the potential to hide a miracle, and that sense of wonder is what keeps collectors searching, researching, and imagining. So as we wrap up this deep dive into the incredible possibilities behind the mysterious 1983 penny rumored in numismatic folklore to be worth $41 million, remember that the world of rare coins is full of surprises, and who knows, the next big discovery might be sitting unnoticed in someone's home right now, waiting to become the next legendary tale in the long and thrilling history of collectible coins. Next 2005 1 cent USA coin, we dive into another unbelievable story from the world of rare coins, a place where tiny pieces of metal can hide enormous secrets and turn ordinary pocket change into unimaginable treasure. And today we're exploring the astonishing tale of the 2005 1 cent coin that some collectors claim could reach an eye-watering value of $42 million because of the strange and extremely rare errors and mistakes that set it apart from the billions of ordinary pennies minted that year. And as we take you on this journey, you'll discover how a coin that seems so simple at first glance can carry mysteries, minting blunders, and unexplained production quirks that together create a perfect storm of desirability, scarcity, and historical intrigue that drives collectors into fierce competition, fueling rumors of multi-million-dollar valuations and motivating treasure hunters everywhere to check their pocket change with renewed excitement, because the story of this 2005 penny is not just about metal and mint marks but about the magic that happens when rarity, speculation, and obsession collide, starting with the fact that the 2005 Lincoln cent was part of the early 2000s production run when the US Mint was transitioning equipment, adjusting die sets and navigating increasing pressures of mass production, all of which opened the door to unusual mistakes that slipped through unnoticed and have since become the stuff of numismatic legend, with some collectors claiming that a tiny handful of these flawed coins possess a unique combination of anomalies that has never again been replicated, beginning with the most discussed possibility, an off-metal strike where the coin may have been accidentally minted using a planchet intended for another denomination such as a dime or foreign coin blank, an error that results in a penny with the wrong metal composition, weight, and color tone, and although such mistakes are rare, when they do happen they produce coins so extraordinary that collectors will pay staggering sums, especially if the error is from a modern year like 2005 where mistakes are statistically less common due to more advanced minting processes, making any surviving off-metal penny from this era a highly coveted specimen. And adding to the mystery is the speculation that some examples of the 2005 penny may show a dramatic double die error on the obverse, where Lincoln's profile, the date, or the motto appears doubled or distorted due to a misalignment during die preparation, and while minor doubling happens occasionally, dramatic doubling is extremely scarce in modern coins, making any such example from 2005 a numismatic bombshell that could push its value into the millions. But the intrigue doesn't stop there, because collectors have also reported the existence of 2005 pennies with extreme die cracks that run across Lincoln's portrait like jagged lightning bolts, or spiderweb patterns spreading toward the rim, errors that can create visually stunning coins that captivate the eye and become centerpieces of world-class collections, especially when those cracks appear in uncommon locations or form shapes that spark even more fascination, such as cracks that outline Lincoln's silhouette or intersect the date in ways believed to occur only during 1 or 2 press cycles, making such coins ultra-rare by nature. And then there are the rumors about the mysterious broad-strike 2005 penny, believed to have slipped out of the mint without the collar die in place, causing the coin to spread out wider and flatter than normal while still retaining full details, a kind of error that immediately commands attention because it visibly stands out from ordinary pennies and can be instantly recognized by collectors, fueling speculation that such an example in pristine condition could be valued at an astronomical figure if paired with other rare anomalies. And some collectors even whisper about a mule error possibility, an extremely rare and nearly impossible event where the obverse of one coin is accidentally paired with the reverse of another denomination or another year entirely, and although no authenticated mule penny from 2005 has surfaced, even the idea that such a coin might exist drives deep interest because a genuine mule error can fetch tens of millions at auction due to its freakish rarity. And as these stories circulate among coin enthusiasts, they create an aura of mystique around the 2005 penny, a belief that somewhere out there, tucked into a forgotten jar, a desk drawer or a dusty coin roll, lies a penny that is not just a small copper-plated artifact but a financial miracle waiting to be discovered, and fueling the fire even further are the discussions about misaligned strikes where the obverse and reverse were not correctly centered during minting, producing a noticeable shift that creates uneven borders or missing details toward one side of the coin, an error that becomes even more desirable when combined with other imperfections, and the growing excitement among collectors is also propelled by the possibility of a rare transitional error, where an incorrect planchet from a previous year or discontinued metal mixture was accidentally used, especially since the early 2000s saw significant changes in minting technology and materials. And when such accidents occur, the resulting coins often become legends in their own right, reaching prices that seem unbelievable to casual observers but perfectly logical within the passionate world of numismatics. And when you combine all these possibilities, the off-metal strikes, dramatic double dies, severe die cracks, broad strikes, misaligned dies, potential mule errors and transitional anomalies, you start to understand why collectors talk about the 2005 penny with such fascination and why some say that a perfect storm of multiple errors on a single coin could create a once-in-a-lifetime piece that auctions for $42 million or more, because the value is not just in the mistakes themselves but in the stories, the rarity and the excitement they generate, transforming a simple penny into a legendary artifact that captures imaginations and commands attention from the most elite collectors worldwide. And what makes this story even more thrilling is the idea that such coins often go unnoticed for years, pass from hand to hand without anyone recognizing their enormous hidden value, making every ordinary penny you encounter a potential treasure and every coin jar a possible goldmine, which is why treasure hunters, hobbyists, and everyday people alike are constantly checking their change, hoping that the next penny they examine might contain the subtle hint of an error that could turn it into one of the rarest and most valuable coins ever discovered. And the remarkable part is that the US Mint produces billions of pennies annually, meaning that even if only one out of hundreds of millions contains a rare flaw, the chances are still high enough to make people dream, search and speculate, building a whole culture around the possibility of finding something extraordinary. And so the legend of the 2005 penny continues to spread as a symbol of hidden fortune, numismatic mystery, and the irresistible idea that a coin worth just 1 cent could transform into a $42 million treasure simply because of the rare combination of errors, mistakes and possibilities that make it unlike anything else produced that year. And for collectors, enthusiasts, and dreamers, that is all the inspiration needed to keep searching, keep learning, and keep believing that the next great discovery might be waiting right in the palm of their hand. Last 2015 1-cent USA coin. Today, as we dive into one of the most unbelievable stories in the world of modern coin collecting, a story that might change the way you look at the loose change in your pocket forever, because today we are exploring the mind-blowing tale of the 2015 1-cent coin that collectors speculate could be worth as much as $43 million due to its extraordinary combination of minting errors, mysterious production mistakes, and nearly impossible circumstances that came together to create a coin so rare, so unique, and so baffling that experts still debate how such a piece could have slipped out of the mint undetected. and as you settle in, get ready to be amazed because the details behind this coin are far more fascinating than they appear at first glance, especially when you consider that the 2015 penny, made in the billions like any ordinary year, shouldn't have had any unusual standout factors at all. Yet somewhere along the production line something highly unexpected took place, resulting in a coin that not only defies normal minting patterns but also challenges our understanding of how controlled and precise the minting environment is supposed to be, and this script will take you through every possibility, every strange detail, every speculative theory and every error reported by enthusiasts and analysts who have spent years trying to unravel the mystery behind why this single cent could carry such an astronomical value, starting with the most talked about error, the double denomination anomaly that many believe is the foundation of its multimillion-dollar potential, because early whispers rumored that this coin might have been struck on a planchet intended for a dime, which would drastically change its weight, thickness, and metal composition, giving it a completely different feel in the hand while still bearing the design of a penny, and if true, this kind of major wrong planchet strike is extremely rare in modern minting where digital controls are in place to catch such mismatches, yet strangely, 2015 was the year that collectors claim multiple irregularities were quietly recorded by insiders, suggesting that something unusual may have been happening behind the scenes in the coining presses, and this wrong planchet theory only deepens when you factor in the second major issue that some claim to have observed: a dramatic off-center strike that appears to push Lincoln's portrait toward the rim with almost unnatural distortion, as if the die and planchet were not aligned properly. And while off-center coins do occur, the severity described for this particular 2015 piece goes beyond typical mint errors, crossing into the realm of dramatic misalignment that collectors desperately hunt for because the more exaggerated the error, the higher the value, and combined with a potential wrong metal composition, this already sets the stage for a small, everyday coin to skyrocket into the world of multi-million-dollar valuation. But the story doesn't end there, because reports also describe additional complications such as doubled lettering on the motto and date, something known as a double die, where the die used to strike the coin contains overlapping impressions, creating a shadow effect that collectors crave, especially when the doubling is strong and visible without magnification. And some claim that on this 2015 piece the doubling is extreme enough to make the numbers appear almost three-dimensional, and when that level of doubling occurs, particularly on the date, it creates a perfect storm of collector obsession because double dates are among the most desirable of all error types, and then layered on top of that is the suggestion that the reverse of the coin might display unusual die cracks creating natural lines across the shield design, which in normal coins are considered minor defects but in extreme forms can raise value dramatically, especially when they form patterns or complete breaks in the die, resulting in raised ridges on the coin surface. And when a coin contains multiple error types working together, including wrong planchet, off-center strike, double die, and severe die cracks, the value multiplies exponentially, not just because of rarity but because the combination of errors becomes nearly impossible to replicate. And when something is truly one of a kind, the value jumps from thousands to millions, and in extremely rare circumstances into the tens of millions, especially when the coin becomes the subject of intense fascination among top-tier collectors who are willing to pay beyond typical auction expectations to secure a historic or legendary piece. And continuing this speculation, some believe the coin may have been part of a series of test strikes, possibly involving experimental planchets or adjustments in minting pressure, which are usually destroyed and never released to the public. So if one escaped accidentally, it would create an unprecedented scenario that collectors dream about, because test strikes are among the rarest items in numismatics, often existing in quantities as low as 1 or 2. And if this 2015 penny were indeed a test piece that mistakenly entered circulation or was taken home by an employee without proper authorization, its rarity would skyrocket into mythical status. And then you have the possibility of a mule error, which is one of the rarest errors where the obverse of one coin is paired with the reverse of another denomination or design. And if somehow the 2015 penny was struck using a mismatched die combination, even if only partially, that alone could push its value into unimaginable territory, because mule coins are so rare that the few known examples have sold for tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars easily. And when a coin is modern, pristine, dramatic in its errors, and shrouded in mystery about how it even came to exist, the value pushes further upward, reaching figures that shock even seasoned collectors. And the idea of a $43 million penny might sound exaggerated at first, but in the world of high-end numismatic collecting, prices are driven not only by rarity but by demand, competition, and the intense prestige associated with owning a coin that is literally one in the world, a coin that becomes the crown jewel of any collection and potentially a global sensation covered by news outlets, auction houses, and private investment groups, and the deeper collectors analyze the potential mistakes that could have created such a piece, the more intriguing the story becomes, because every layer of error increases the possibilities that something extraordinarily rare occurred within the minting process that year, whether it was a mechanical failure, a human oversight, a mismatched die pairing, experimental materials, or even environmental issues affecting the machinery. And when you consider the mint's strict quality control procedures, the existence of such a coin becomes almost impossible. And it is that impossibility that fuels its legend and pushes its speculative value into the tens of millions, because collectors love the thrill of the chase, the idea that somewhere out there, in a coin jar, a pocket, a forgotten roll, or a dusty drawer, a single penny could be worth more than luxury mansions, rare gemstones, vintage cars, and world-class art combined, and that imagination keeps the value alive, keeps the mystery exciting, and keeps people checking their change every day, hoping they might be the one lucky enough to find the most extraordinary 2015 penny ever rumored, a coin that blends mystery, error, rarity, and sheer impossibility into one unbelievable story that continues to captivate the coin collecting world and fuel the idea that even in modern times, incredible treasures still hide in plain sight.